I was contacted by Nevermet at the end of August to ask if I'd work with them for a new campaign they're working on for their app. If you aren't aware, Nevermet is a phone application that is for meeting people but in VR. Now, I've heard of it the week it was released, and I had my concerns, but decided in the grand scheme of things to just leave it be and work on other projects. While I am not against online dating, I've always made my opinion firm on how it is a very difficult commitment that many players take way too lightly. I also need to add that while I was paid for my ad on TikTok, this video is not being sponsored. This is an honest review of the application with my own concerns made public. I am not being paid for this video by Nevermet, so please keep that in regards that I will be mentioning goods and bads. I only do this since I was already doing research to see if I was comfortable promoting it on my channel and don't want that info and time to go to waste. Let's get started with some ground rules as usual. Dating online has always been seen as controversial. There are those who mock and belittle people who choose to date through this medium. Often I see couples in public worlds being questioned if they've seen each other in real life, if they've ever met, do they have unmentionables, do they do sleep calls, things that in a standard in-person relationship would never be acceptable to ask from strangers. To make myself very clear, I will be removing any and all rude or mocking comments towards either opinion. If you choose to be bitter that your life sucks and take it out on strangers you don't even know, you can do it elsewhere. On the other side of this, if you just have personal concerns or disagreements with long-distance relationships and want to talk about them respectfully, that is fair game. As I say in every video, respect me and the people connected to this video and you will be respected back. I'm not going to tolerate the same 3 unoriginal comments that I get every time online relationships are brought up. Get more original and maybe we can be a big enough kid to have a conversation. With that, let us begin. So in case you are not aware, what is Nevermet? Nevermet is an application that allows you to meet people who are frequent within the virtual reality circles. It is not just used for VR chat, you can sign up and showcase your interest in pretty much any social VR game that's popular right now. Chill Out, Neos, Horizon, VR chat, etc. I had a friend who used it once, specifically because he wanted to see if anybody would go on a date with a cow, but besides that, my knowledge of this app was limited. General statement before we get into it, while I did do a bit of hands-on research and outside research, that doesn't mean that my opinion or understanding is flawless. There may be things I missed, drama I wasn't aware of, or dangers that lurk that I've not heard about. Please make sure to always use caution whenever you sign up for anything, and make sure to follow general internet safety. So to start this out, I had to go ahead and make myself an account on the app. I'll preface this by saying I did not sign up as Nuoance, but instead used another account that I use when I just want to be alone. I do this to try and avoid awkward encounters where someone may be attempting to connect with me only because of my content and not because of whatever else people are looking for. Of course, now that'll be kinda pointless since, well, I found a few people who follow me on there. So, hi! After having an impromptu photo shoot with my friend Blueberry, I picked up my top 5 photos and moved on to the application in general. Setting my profile up was pretty simple. All it asks is your age, at least 2 photos, and your bio needs to be 20 words minimum. Since I'm using an alias, I didn't want to bring up my work or what I do in most of my free time, and I had a real personal moment at 3 a.m. realizing I do almost nothing else. Very depressing. But I did know one thing. I've always wanted to go into one of those music events at VR chat. I have a friend who invited me in the past, but got busy with life and only took me to one that apparently was toned down. So I added that I liked music and Pokemon and called it a day. After that, you're done, and now Nevermet has to go and check and see if your account is legit. This I do appreciate, and I enjoy barring one thing. The first bit is that you can only add 2 photos to the start, but the app requires 3 for you to be accepted. While that currently isn't a problem because you could just add more photos while you wait, I feel like it defeats the purpose of the authentication. I assume this was a safety system to combat people who make accounts to troll and mock those who do sign up legitimately, but you have the ability to edit yourself, so they could just change their lookup real quick and switch back as soon as they are accepted. It's just a personal thought. But since that's not something that could change overnight, I went to bed with my inner demons and woke up feeling as tired as the night before, but accepted into Nevermet. My declined letters from HoloLive and VShoja are only accompanied by my tears today. First thing, I went into the app and started looking around. Originally, I had the idea just to accept everyone, but decided against it as soon as I started reading some profiles. I played VR chat since 2018, and I've been on the internet most of my life, so now I have a small list of red flags that I look for when meeting someone new. Obviously, it isn't 100% accurate, but it's just another way to help me stay safe and sane. While I'm doing this strictly for a test and not really looking for anything, I didn't want to get involved with the actual frustration of matching someone and then them planning our whole life together because they liked the pictures I took of a virtual character. I don't think I added this as a start, but I personally don't enjoy dating apps. I'm not really the romantic type, and flirting makes me cringe 90% of the time. So I selected a few more people for my first day, and while I waited to hear back from them, I checked on the verification system. This was the real reason I was giving this app a chance. When I first heard about Nevermet, I was against an online dating app in a game that does unfortunately have a lot of people who don't understand basic consent. Age liars are many, with adults pretending to be younger and minors pretending to be older. I take this issue extremely seriously, and I don't blame VR chat alone for it. It's just the sad part of the internet that is constantly at war. But it's a reasonable danger, and I was concerned things like Nevermet could make it 100 times worse. I can't speak from experience, but knowing the player base and remembering the dating app Flirtual, previously known as VRLFP, people use these applications to hook up and rarely anything more. There's nothing inherently wrong with that, mind you, but I doubt that the majority did age verification before moving into more saucy territory. When I get contacted working with a brand, I do try to give them a fair chance and told them I'd be open to learning more. My concern was promoting a dating app with the fears that I have to my audience that does have minors mixed in, and that could cause problems. So when I looked at their information and posters, the first thing I saw was the age verification, and I was ecstatic. While the previous problems won't fully go away because verification isn't a requirement, this is a great way for adults to at least keep themselves safer. So let's take a look at the program they use, Yoti. Now, I'll be the first to admit that I do not know jack about internet safety or age verification tech. Who knows what they do with all your info, but the first thing I saw when looking up the specific program was that it was the same program Instagram uses. Does that mean it's safe? No, but it does tell me it's at least some level of legitimateness, and they aren't gonna just take my ID and sell it or something. In theory, the setup was rather simple. They wanted a photo of my ID and a photo of my face. Apparently, the program doesn't log your face as a picture, but instead the AI will scan for features that define age, like wrinkles, gray hair, sunspots. It really hones in on your imperfections. Thanks, Yoti. The whole process was quick and easy, and within a few hours I was able to get verified. This brings up my second request, which is a verified-only search. Since I wasn't planning on using Nevermet seriously and only expected to make a few friends, I didn't really need to worry about verified accounts. But the perspective of wanting to either find a partner or someone to spend the night with, I personally feel it'd be more comfortable being only shown accounts that are verified. Heck, even people who just want to use the app to make friends may want to make sure they're getting actual adults. While verification isn't foolproof, it still gives some ease of mind that I like to have with adult servers and VR chat. I've spoken about this more times than I count about having a second role for those who are adults in the game and having a safer way to separate minors to non-minor friendly content. Realistically, all it takes is one kid sneaking into an adult space that doesn't require age checks, and suddenly you have a serious problem. I know in my friend server, which is all age appropriate, there was a group of minors who were friends and always hung out together. Found out from another member that those kids had snuck their way into adult servers and were going to events not appropriate for their age. When they were confronted, it turned out that they had convinced or allowed their entire gang of little uns to sneak in, and it became a serious struggle to find out who were minors and who weren't. Because back then it was heavily frowned upon for events to force ID checks, this issue caused a massive distrust and a ton of people were kicked for the safety of those who were proven to be adults. Heck, honestly, even now people still don't like the idea, but that's a video for a different day. And I'm not saying that minors shouldn't be allowed to play VR chat, but I will always be firm on my stance that there is content in the game that is not appropriate for them. Even with safety measures in check, they can continue to try and sneak their way in. Not every single person has good inside of them. There are those who use the game to get away with predatory acts against those who just want to be treated like an equal. This is a message to my follower base who are under the age of 18. If you want to be treated like an adult, the first step is realizing you aren't one yet. If you don't fully understand or agree with the rules set in place that tell you that you are not allowed in, you need to respect those boundaries, because those rules are made to allow adults to be comfortable in a space made for adults only. Sneaking in to prove your maturity just shows you are not mature, and for me, I don't allow that to slide. It is one of the few things I won't forgive someone for doing, because it can literally ruin lives. I try to check every few months and see who is in my all-age appropriate server, then cross-reference it with some adult servers that I'm in and see if the ages match up when I can. Even if someone is honest in my server about their age, being aware and allowing that behavior is predatory in itself, because 1, it normalizes and puts other minors at risk to doing the same thing, and 2, it allows adults to pretend to be younger and get closer to kids around them. I will respect your opinion, your ideals, and treat you as an equal, but you have to do the same to me and the other people around you. Your wants and needs do not trump over anyone else's. And while that did get a little off topic, it is something I needed to say in regards to any kind of adult application, and will probably say again in future videos. That little blurb is just a small slice of a bigger pie that is a side dish accompanying anything dealing with online dating apps. So you can see why I have hesitations with things like Nevermet being made, because it just makes it so much easier for both dangerous parties to meet people who don't know any better. I know there's other people who agree with me and would rather just not risk it at all, and instead would only want to interact with those who have been verified one way or another. Meeting through the app, going to events that require ID checks, these are all safer methods in a sea of uncertainty to find someone as a potential partner, or to just share a bed with for the night. In terms of my conversations using Nevermet, they were okay. I had some really nice ones, I had some bland ones, and some never even bothered to contact me after matching. And, well, one person works as a sleep slaughterhouse, so, I feared for my life a wee bit. Overall, what I expected to see on the app. Personally, I still prefer the old school method. Nevermet is a great way to meet people at random, but I still would much rather meet someone in the game, either through public hopping or mutual friends. It just feels more natural to me, but on the other hand, it is very similar to being like on a Discord server. I know it's hard to make new authentic friends through VR chat now more than ever, because of the people who join the game just to grief, as well as all those who are often playing, do stick to their own private worlds and groups. Not to say there aren't people also traveling public worlds, and it has reportedly gotten better since the EAC update, but you'd have to 1. Be lucky to be in the same instance, and 2. Hope that the people you do run into mesh with your own personality. Sorry to my certain friends who love to go to public worlds, but y'all are a bit rough around the edges to hang around. Nevermet meets a need that some people may be searching for, a neutral spot where you have a chance to find some new friends to hang out with. And if it works for you, that's great. The app is promoted for adults, but isn't only for adult activities. I ran into many people who just wanted to meet strangers and build friendships, and that's pretty cool. This next complaint really isn't the fault of the app most likely, but while I do have zero preference in gender, I mostly only got males to match with. After about a week of using the app, I found maybe 3 girls and 4 non-binary players in general, and not even as potential matches. The rest were all men. Nothing wrong with that in theory, but since apparently people think I'm a guy here on YouTube, I'd like to make some girlfriends. But I don't want to have only to choose girls and non-binary to get more varied pool. Plus, who knows if that messes with the people I've already matched with. I guess that has to do with how many guys probably choose only women, so they have to find a way to thin the herd, and I was one of the few lucky winners. Which, I mean, if I wanted to match with more people, maybe I should have gone premium. This is where I drew the line. Since I know I won't be earning the money back from this video alone, I didn't want to drop a 20 for a month's use. This is where I have my biggest criticism of the app, because I can't make sense justifying such a heavy raise in costs. And I tried to sign up for other dating apps to see where their prices were averaging, but it was taking forever to do so I'm just gonna stay unaware if this is an outlier in terms of dating prices. I know from a simple Google search, some apps charge between their services and range between 10 and 20 a month, but those all came with bells and whistles and a more generalized to the public look, not for a specific niche like VR relationships. The fact that it is such a steep price for limited matches, being 50 instead of 15, as well as seeing who liked you first, boggles my mind, let alone it's only for a month. I know usually with dating apps that also have a subscription service, they at least do some kind of test to see if you'll match with people who you'd get along with, but Nevermet is more just randomly throwing people at you. Personally, it's just not worth the investment to me. Once again though, I don't know if there are people who see the value in it, because in reality it wasn't marketed towards me, nor is it a requirement to use the app, as you can still meet up to 15 new people per day, and it will just always reset at midnight EST. Which I see as a positive, rather than forcing users to wait 24 hours after they sifted through 15 people. There are definite waves of interaction when people only get on and reply after they've checked out all those who are new. I've never liked timers, so having a general default recess time helps things keep more organized in a way. As someone who has played games with these timer resets, it causes a sense of anxiety for missing out when you aren't available at that exact time when your cooldown ends. Because the more you wait, the closer the cooldown gets to when you would be sleeping, and then you've missed out on a full day's benefits. Lastly, I wanted to take a look at the general reviews left for the app. Both on Google and Apple, they're pretty solid with an average of 4.5 out of 5 stars, but the 1-star reviews fascinated me the most. Many people I noticed who left negative reviews were either about issues they could very easily fix themselves, like the fear of minors on the app when you could just make the effort to only match with verified users, or about being lonely people who tried matching with women and not getting their fairy tale ending right away. Here's the real kicker for y'all who aren't women. Even if she's looking for a partner, just because you showed up on her page and matched, it isn't enough of a reason to get the chance to date. That's not really a male-centric issue, but in terms of the reviews, it was often guys complaining about not getting a girlfriend within a few days. Also, it's just kind of weird to me that people just expect that you'll randomly get a woman because you join a dating app. You're not guaranteed anything. Another popular complaint was the amount of people who sign up to use the app to find their friends and not partners, and that one I'm kind of half and half on. I understand that Nevermet is being promoted as a dating app, and maybe there are people who are actually looking for love through it, so it can be frustrating when you only have 15 choices in a day. And if a vast majority of them are not looking for a relationship, well, that's a day wasted. Perhaps that should be a future feature for those who do plan to use it in the way of finding people, and for those who are looking for relationships. Honestly, after this video, I'll probably be putting my elusive Nevermet account to rest. Not to say that it was bad per se, but it's not my thing. I'm still a much bigger fan of meeting people through the game, because even as it grows, VR chat is still small enough to pretty easily run into people that you probably know at least one of your friends or a friend of their friend knows. It was a fun run while it lasted, but I also don't realistically have the time to hang out with a bunch of strangers through the app. I barely have time to see the people I care about. Why should I divide myself even further? If you are one of the people I matched with, I thank you for the conversations. For those who I actually held a lovely discussion with, they'll be getting messages telling him who I really am and offer my friendship through my actual Discord. For those who had small talk, well, I'm sorry and hello if you see me. Thank you all so much for showing up again today, and thank you Nevermet for making the horrible mistake of contacting me. I'm sure I've shot myself in the foot for any future promotions, but hey, I'd love to talk about these kinds of things. If you've tried out Nevermet or any other VR-centric dating app, I'd love to hear your stories. With that though, make sure to drink your water, eat your broccoli, and have a fantastic day. See y'all in the next video.